You are on Daily Thought with Natalie Brathwaite. So, I am here yet again to just share some encouragement, to just share the possibility of us walking hand in hand, living transformed lives as God has designed for us to live out His divine purpose. Alright, so everything I share is because there would be something that I would speak to God about, and try to get some answers, or some things I may observe, something things I may personally experience, just different things that sometimes when I get answers or when I get insight in a certain area, I am just willing to share with you. It's not because I have arrived in that place of perfection, but it's because I am willing to invite you in to this journey, into walking out God's purpose for my life and for your life. It's just us doing life together, kind of thing. Yes? So, today's daily thought is about living life with an open hand. Yes, you heard me. Living life with an open hand. Now, it's not like the way that you might think it may be. But let's stick up in here, and let me just remind you that you can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, and you can share the video or the channel with your friends, your family, those that you love, and you just want them as well to join you in walking this transformed life, this God-given, purpose-filled life. Okay, so let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, let's go. So when I say living life with an open hand mentality, all I'm simply saying is this. I mean, we should not be holding on to earthly things so tightly that it may cause us to lose sight of what is truly important, to why we are still doing this earthly experience. Remember, the mere fact that we are still here in the land of the living, it means that God has a plan and God has a purpose for us. We are not just here to look beautiful. We are not just here to take up space, and it's not by chance. We are here because God purposefully designed us to be here in this time and in this season. All right. So there are necessities, and then there are accessories in life. Let me say that again. There are necessities in life, and then there are accessories in life. One, we must not mix them up. Two, when they are assigned correctly, we must be willing to accept that it is only God, our manufacturer, can truly sustain us with any of these two. All right. So I was talking to God about this thought of living with a mentality of hands opened. And I was saying, God, well, I want to see in your word, like, what are you really saying about this? This is just me thinking something through in a way that I just trying to feel good about something, or so I said, God, I need to see it. I need to see it in your word. And then I was taken to Genesis chapter 19, which speaks to how holding on to things tightly could negatively affect us. So this story is about Lot and his family. Now, little did Lot know, or his family members know, that Abraham was talking to God about protecting Lot and his family in the middle of the destruction that was about to come to Sodom and Gomorrah. So first point, let's understand that there is someone praying for you, there is someone praying for me, and sometimes we don't even know it. We just have to thank God for those who stand in the gap, those who are obedient enough to hear God saying, pray for this person, and pray and stand in the gap for them. Yes? So one thing, that's number one, that there's somebody standing in the gap for you. Two, let's understand that Lot and his family had no clue of the severity of the destruction that was about to come to the place and the things that they were holding on to. So even though the angels were telling them to leave that area, they had no clue the the magnitude of destruction that was about to come, right? So they were just thinking, okay, there was something bad happening, okay. But they did not realize it was going to be demolished. Like, they could not have seen where anything started from where it finished, because everything was just totally destroyed. All right. 3. While the haste in which they had to leave may have seemed unjust, it was really God's favor upon their lives. Okay, I want you to listen to that again. While the haste of which they had to leave, in which they had to leave their belongings, their attachments, the haste in which they had to leave it, it did not seem good at the time. But it was actually God's favor towards them. I want us to understand that, because different times, different seasons will arrive in our lives, and it may not feel comfortable. It may not feel fair even. It may not feel like this is a God thing. But when we have this unrest or this negative feeling, if we communicate with God, He would reassure us if this is something He is doing, or if this is something the enemy is bringing up against us. And so we can know the difference. We can know, is this God saying to get out now, or is this the enemy trying to pull a fear tactic upon us? Okay? 4. This speaks to the fact that God's favor does not always look like what we want to see. It also may not feel the way we would like to feel. It's only that we must trust, as we have put our lives into God's hands, that He is navigating our entire life. He is navigating our entire life. If we have said that we have put our lives in God's hands, then we have to trust that He is navigating it. Yeah? 5. When we dare to not live with an open hand and be disobedient, we find ourselves stuck in one place, fixed in and on the thing or place that we so tightly hold on to, and never get to see the more that God has for us. So you see, when God is taking us out of something, or moving something out of our path, it is never because He just doesn't want you to have anything. It is because He has something better for you. It is because He's bringing you into safety. He's bringing you into better. He's bringing you into greater provision. He's protecting you, and He's actually exacting favor upon your life. Again, sometimes it may not feel so in the middle of it, because when they were running through the valley, it did not feel that way. It definitely did not feel that way. But I'm sure when they arrived to safety and they heard of what had happened, or they saw of what had happened, they were so relieved and they were so grateful that God would have protected them. I am absolutely certain of that. All right. So I was just thinking, I was saying, isn't it a tragedy that we fixate so much on what we have now that we cannot see that there is more on the other side? Isn't it also a tragedy when we are destined to be safe and save, but we choose to hold on to what we think we own and forfeit our God-ordained destiny? There is therefore I would say, I admonish both you and I that we let God be God and let Him navigate our lives. Move when he says to move. Let go of what he says to let go of. Or go to the place that he says to go to and receive the new that he has assigned for us in every new season. The seasons has changed, guys. The season has changed. Do you hear me? The season has changed. Don't you feel the shift? Don't you feel the shift in the atmosphere? The seasons have changed. Aren't you not feeling the shift? Leave what must be left behind and charge forward into what God has ordained for you. What was yesterday, what was God's blessing to you yesterday, may not be God's blessing to you today. Because the children of Israel, as they were journeying to the promised land, that land that God had promised them, flowing with milk and honey, their provision for today during that journey, their blessing of today during that journey was not their blessing of tomorrow. God just sent enough manna for that particular day, and they could not eat it on the following day. Are you getting me? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Remember, previous to that journey, that was not the case. They had food in Egypt, and they knew what their next meal was going to be and how they're going to make it over and how they. But during that time, when they were journeying to the promise that God had given to them, it was not like that. So the in between what was and what is going to be, there is what is. That middle passage does not always seem the way that we think it should. But I dare to ask you to believe and to know and to trust, based on the track record of our Heavenly Father, that what is coming is much better than where we have been and where we are right now. Guys, I love you. Take this thought today and go out into the world and live a transformed life.